So before that, let's just understand this term like full stack development, and after that, I'm just going to tell you about what is this modern stack is. Yeah, it's trendy right now. So that's great. Okay, that's great. That's great. So let me just start from very scratch. So everything is all about the web development. And what is this web development? It's basically creating a website. So any website like Wikipedia, Google, or YouTube, or like any website that you can think of, it comes under this web development. But earlier, it's used to be very easy. Just you can just do, you can just make a website just by using HTML, CSS. It is used to be very easy. Life was just easier and smooth. You don't have like frameworks, these languages, and these stacks like man and those hard words and all. Life was very easy. But the problem was that the technology was not that strong and not that useful earlier, like in 1980s, 1990s, or in 2000s. Websites were just used to display some content like Wikipedia. Yeah, Wikipedia is a very good example of a very basic website. You can just look for a thing, you will get the information, read the information, and go on. Yeah, it's not going to like show you some animations, it's not going to take data from you, it's not going to navigate like Google Maps do. It's just very easy stuff. But later down the line, people realized that the power of internet is much more than just sharing the information. Why we can't just share some services and all? So like a website could interact with the user, like user can click on a button and it can perform some calculation, or like it can just calculate the expenses, and it can just show the stock exchange reports and all. So somebody comes up with the idea just to of JavaScript. Yeah. So JavaScript has a very interesting history. So it's like a drama how JavaScript started. So before, like we just used to create HTML and CSS. So I will just use my pen tool for that. So earlier we used to have just HTML and we used to have CSS. So HTML, just by using HTML, you could have created the basic structure of a website. So that if I just show you an example, so just by using HTML, so let me just open a website like Wikipedia. Wikipedia is a very good example. Wikipedia. So I just open this Wikipedia. So just by using HTML, you could create like you can put some content like this is a text, and then we have this heading, and this is a photo, and this is some links and all. But later down the line, people realize that it's better to make things beautiful. So they come up with the concept of CSS. So just by using CSS, you can just make your things little bit pretty to look at. But after sometimes, everybody just wanted to give a brain, a soul, like a soul to a website, like so that it can interact, it can talk with us, बातचीत हो पाए थोड़ी, कुछ interaction हो. So for that, we needed a programming language like C, C++, Java, Python, and we have like billions of programming language here. But JavaScript is very special. So for that, let me just introduce about you the programming language. Mohammed is asking like what is the best backend language? So I'm going to answer your question also. Yeah, I'm just going to cover your question. Mohammed is asking basically which is the best backend language. Yeah. So what is language? So our computer can basically understand zeros and one. Yeah, it's so dumb. It can just understand zero and one. But computer is very obedient. It can do anything that we will ask it to do. If it's in the computer's limit, it will do it. But we cannot talk in zeros and one. Yeah, it's pretty difficult to talk in zeros and ones. Yeah, it's very, very difficult. So we have a concept of language. So basically, it's a language. Programming language is like it's like a easier version of zeros and one. And we have a compiler. So this basically we have a compiler. So this compiler basically is like a translator. So it is just going to convert our language like English into this zeros and ones. So we have like multiple compilers. Each language have a specific compiler or interpreter. Interpreter is also a compiler of different types. But this compiler is basically like it is very specific to the operating system, to the hardware, and etc. etc. But in the case of JavaScript, yeah, JavaScript is a programming language that can work on a browser. And what is this browser? This Chrome. Yeah, this is a Google Chrome. It's a browser. And here I have Microsoft Edge is a browser. Firefox is a browser. And it was a time when Internet Explorer was used to be a browser. So this is a language that can work on a browser. So people just combine these three languages, HTML, CSS, and JavaScript together to make a website interactive. Now our website can basically react to things. It can fetch the data from the internet. It can do a lot of things. So if I just say HTML is the skeleton, CSS is the skin, so JavaScript is going to be the soul of a website. So it was okay. So it's easy. You can learn three languages. It was very easy. You can just move on with your life. But the change, uh, some down the line, some changes actually happened. Like our technology boomed, internet got into the hands of everyone. So now basically what could happen, you can just make these websites more powerful. So nowadays we don't make websites, yeah. So websites is now a thing of past. Nowadays we make web apps, yeah. And you regularly use web apps without even knowing. So YouTube is the example of a web app. Let me just show you an example. Yeah, so let me just open my YouTube in incognito mode because my YouTube search history is very controversial. So let's just go with the incognito mode and don't look at the like trending sections and all. So I just wanted to show you this, how it's a web app. So just focus here. Yeah, just focus here. As you can see, if I just click over to any video, yeah, this thing is not actually reloading. Yeah, this is not reloading. I can just navigate to this application without even, and also I can just disconnect my internet, and my YouTube will still work. Yeah, it's going to happen. I can just disconnect my internet. This application will still will work. Let me just close this video. And some other example of web, Facebook, Instagram. Like nowadays, Adobe After Effects is on the web. So now basically we use this web to make application, and that two application is so powerful that it can perform anything that a traditional app or a software can do. So now our websites or web apps are very difficult to code. It was very easy to develop something from HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, but where you are when you are into like this web apps kind of thing, now it's very difficult to make something just by using these three languages or like three tools, because it's going to be super hard to manage your code, to share your code, to debug, and these are the things that we have to manage on the regular basis. So you are not going to type thousands of lines of code just to create a single page. It's very difficult. So a person, yeah, basically a team of Facebook come up with idea of React. Yeah, I know Facebook, it's little bit controversial, but trust me, Facebook do very little things good, and React JS is one of them. So what is React actually is? Yeah, what is this React is? So React is a framework. No, it's not a framework. Let me just clear it. So React is just a library. Yeah, I'm just going to explain you what is this framework or library is. But just for now, just take it as a thing that is going to help you to create these applications. Yeah, you don't have to manage everything. Just by using React, you can make these web apps very easily. So I have like bunch of code written in React, and I can share you with that. So I will share you some projects also on the screen, like how React actually works. And also, it's not so difficult. Okay, someone is asking like, what is the difference between library and a framework? So let me just tell you about the difference. For those who are very new to the coding world, it's not going to make everything sense to you about this library and framework, but I will try my best to explain you this. So what is this framework? Yeah, framework and a library. So let's just understand about the library first. So suppose in a programming language, we perform some tasks like you can compress the image, you can basically share the image, you can like calculate something, you can do a bunch of things. But the fact is, there is a bunch of code that you are going to repeat again and again. So what actually happens, some good people around the world is going to actually write a code, and they are going to share it on the internet, so that I can basically download that code and I can use that exact code in my project or my product. So there are a library for dates and all. So if you want to just calculate the dates, we have a library called movement.js. If you want to create some super cool animation, so we have a library called GSAP for that. So it's a library that's going to help you to create animation. And at the end of the day, these libraries are just a collection of small code that is going to help us to create some big thing. So we don't have to write everything from the scratch. And this is how this industry works. Actually, you come up with some you just come up with some good idea, you share it with me, you share it with world just use it, and we just create products and all. And on the other end, framework is a complete tool, it has everything inside of it. So just by using, so Angular is a framework, so it have everything inside of it. So basically we're going to work with React, so that's I just covered the library part. Yeah, okay, that's great. So now React is a thing. Basically, React is a library. Yeah, that's going to help us to create those UI and UX. So what is this UI and UX? So this everything, these colors, these buttons, everything's come under UI. And UX is basically, so what is going to happen when I'm going to click over this button? It just comes under the UX part. Yeah, how user going to see the things. So it just comes under the UX part. So UI, everything that you see on the screen is user interface. Yeah, and then we have user experience. So like if you just visit any government website, so it have like worst possible UI and UX. And if you just visit YouTube or like this website also, this website has a pretty good UI and UX, isn't it? So this is all about React. Then the people who are actually going to make the UI and UX and they are going to code it are basically called the front end developers. Why? Because they are going to develop something that is going to be seen by the users, front end. Yeah. So this is our front end. So the people who basically work with React, HTML, CSS, JavaScript, these people are actually called the front end developers. So they basically work with this UI, UX colors and all, how actually data is going to shown on your screen, like the website of corona website is, remember those bad times then we had like corona and we used to like continuously check how much corona cases have till now, the what are the stats and all. So everything that was that you can see was those charts and all comes under the UI UX part. But but there is something that there is some place where we can store this data and all. Because if you are, want to give show me some data, you must have that data, isn't it? So suppose I'm just going to make a website which is just going to show like how many COVID cases are till now in the world. Yeah, so 3,000 lakh or something like that. So I can show it, but I should have a place where I'm going to save this data. Yeah, so this is called the backend. So I'm just going to explain now. Okay, we got what is front end. Front end is this UI and UX. Then what is this backend is? So backend comes under basically how our website gonna have some data and all. How we are going to store the data. So let's take an example of a Facebook. Yeah, Facebook, Instagram, because these are the two most popular things. Or let's just take an example of WhatsApp. Yeah, WhatsApp. So in the WhatsApp, the app that you see, that button, that list, it comes under the front end. Yeah, the front end developer basically have made that buttons and all. Those buttons where we can send and we can get some emojis and all. But the fact is, if this is me and this is you, so there should be a bridge where I can send this message to you. So this of sending a message comes under the backend development. So sending a data from one point to another point, like having this real chat, the feature, the functionality, that's actually make a product. Yeah, isn't it? WhatsApp is nothing without sending messages. It's just an app, isn't it? So this thing, the logic, the everything that the how our app is going to work comes under the backend. Sending of messages, images, sharing streams in the Netflix. How can you like in Netflix? We have like thousands of movies and everybody around the world are watching the streaming those movies and all. So this all comes under the backend part, storing of movies, sharing it to the world, how to manage the authentication, how to do sign up, how to handle the data, how to send messages and on, how to show the typing status, how to have a like, how to commit a post. Everything comes under the backend development. Yeah, and we have different tools for it. Yeah, so if you just want to become a front end developer, you can just learn about HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and if you are really into front end development, just learn about React and all. But if you are into backend, we have multiple tools, because in the backend actually what we create a server. A server sounds so like so difficult. Now and then we just listen उस कंपनी का सर्वर डाउन हो गया, like we are fed up to hear this term in SBI बैंक, सर सर्वर नहीं चल रहा, ट्रांसफर नहीं हो पाएंगे पैसे. So what is this server, like what is this headache जो कभी चलता ही नहीं है? So what is this server is? So in a very nutshell, server is just a computer. Yeah, server is just a computer which is connected to internet. So let me just create a server for you. Yeah, so let me open a whiteboard. Yeah, okay, my pen tool is not working properly. Otherwise, I used to have a white screen where I could have typed very easily. But right now, I am just going to let me just open this thing and let's just create a new slide here. And I'm just going to create insert. I basically haven't used this slide. Yeah, that's why. Okay, I can just type anywhere. So let me just type here also. So what is this server is? The server is a computer. Yeah, my mobile phone, my laptop, your mobile phone, your computer can be a server. Server is just a computer which is connected to internet. Yeah, and it can share the data on the internet and it can receive the request from the internet. So how this computer is able to do this all? So this computer can share the video to the whole world. It can connect multiple computers around the world. So multiple computer can basically connect to our computer and they can indirectly talk to each other. So all this cool stuff happens in our server. So at the end of the day, server is just a computer which is connected to internet, but there is a catch. This computer have a very special software, and the development of this special software is just the backend development. Yeah, so we have to basically create a software that is going to enable my computer to connect with the world, and now we can share the data, we can consume the data, we can perform calculation, we can do a lot of things. So this all comes under the backend development. And to create a backend application, this software, so at the end of the day, our goal is to create a software that is going to communicate with the world. So for that, we have multiple options. You can learn Go, Node.js, then we have C++, and for the Java also we have some stuff. So why we are going with Node.js? Yeah, what is this Node.js and all? So first of all, let me just clear your one doubt. Node.js is not a programming language. So somebody comes to you and say Node.js बहुत अच्छी programming language. No, it's not. Node.js is not a programming language. Yeah, it's again a tool that will help us to create the application, that backend software. And the programming language that Node.js use is JavaScript. So why we are going to use Node? Because of two things. First, if you are a front-end developer, you already know about JavaScript. Yeah, so you don't have to learn a new language, like you don't have to learn Golang or like C++, Java or something. If you know already about JavaScript, you can just start using Node.js. And second thing, Node.js is very, very good at handling multiple connections. So if you just look at most of the popular application that is going to have multiple users, those backend are just going to use Node.js, because Node.js is very good at handling multiple users at a same time. That's why you can handle thousands and lakhs of users just by using a single server. So that comes under the backend developer. The backend development also have one part also, that is called database management. So suppose I created a Node.js application. So I have created a server. Now my server is connected to everybody around the world. But there should be a place where I could save the data. Yeah. So that's easy. You can save the data. Basically, you can write the data on your diary also. But the data cannot be stored in a simple fashion. Why? Because the thing is that we have to get the data as much as fast possible. So let me just show you an example. So here we have our data. So take it as a it's a bucket. So this is a bucket. This is our backend. Yeah, this is our backend. Yeah. Now our backend is connected to the whole world by using frontend. Okay. So here we have Mukesh and here we have Suresh. Yeah. So now suppose Mukesh want to send a post to the Suresh. So what is going to happen? Mukesh is going to tell my server, okay, just send a message to Suresh. Okay. So how backend is going to send a message to Suresh? So in this database, we have actually stored everything, every detail about the user. So backend software will look at the database and it's going to pick out the Suresh, and it's going to send that message to the Suresh. But now the fact is, we are going to have millions of users. The data can be grow to like terabytes and all. So this database should be robust. It should be fast so that we can feed the data. We can get the data as fast as possible. So that's why for that purpose, we use a database management system. Yeah. And we have multiple options for that. But the technology that we are going to use to store our data is called MongoDB. So MongoDB is comparatively new. Yeah. So if you are from colleges and all, so you already have heard about the term SQL. So this is also a technology, a database management system, basically where you can store the data by using tables. Yeah, we used to have tables and rows, and this in these tables and rows, basically we used to save our data and all. But SQL was little bit difficult. It has some problems. It cannot expand. It cannot like scale. So those problems were resolved by using another software management database management system called NoSQL. Literally, it's the name, NoSQL. So somebody just come up with an idea where we can save the data in a different format. And one example is MongoDB. Yeah. So these are the software. So basically, we have two types of databases, NoSQL and SQL. And we have multiple softwares, multiple systems that basically utilize these two ways. So let me just draw a line. So we have SQL and we have NoSQL. So in SQL, we have MySQL. So MySQL is a software that basically uses SQL to store the data. Then we have Postgres. Yeah. So we have bunch of software that basically uses SQL to store the data, to get the data. Yeah. So Postgres and MySQL is not SQL. They are just a software that are just going to use this SQL and all. Then we have some NoSQL software. We have Firebase, then we have MongoDB, then we have Redis, and then we have like CouchDB. So these are the software that basically uses the NoSQL ideology. So these are just ideology, how we are going to save our data, how we are going to get the data. So the thing that we are going to use in our course is MongoDB. Why? Because it's fast, it's reliable, it has all the feature of NoSQL, and it is so popular right now. So how actually we choose like what to use? And as let me just tell you one more thing. You have just covered full stack development. How? Remember, I just told you that the front end part, everything that you can see on the screen is developed by a front end engineer. So that UI UX is comes under front end. The backend comes under like Node.js. A person who can do both is like a full stack developer. So he is just a Superman. Yeah? He can do both the things. And these kind of people are so popular right now in the industry. You can land a job very easily. If you are a full stack developer, I can bet you that you won't be unemployed for a while. It's very popular right now. Why full stack development is so popular? Because companies are looking for full stack developer. They don't want to hire a specific team to create UI and another team to create a backend. They want a single team who can do everything. And the fact is, they are just going to pay you more. Why? Suppose if you are a front end developer, yeah. So suppose I'm a company, I'm a very big company. Okay. So I just want to make a new product, a revolutionary product which can change the world. So I just want I want a front end team. Yeah, I want a front end team who is just going to make this UI and all, and I want a back end team which is going to make this thing happen. So I just gonna have 10 people on the front end. I'm just going to pay 10 lakhs each, and I'm gonna have like 10 people at the back end. I'm going to pay 10 lakhs each. My total budget is like too much. Like it's 1 CR here, 1 CR here. On the other hand, I could have just hired 15 full stack developers, and I have could like 10 full stack developers in that case, and I could have just given them 15 lakhs each. So full stack developer is getting like paid more, and the fact is he can do both the things. That's why full stack developers are so popular right now. Because suppose a company just have opening for the front end, you are a front end developer, you can be the front end guy. If a company have opening for the backend, you can do the backend as well. So that's why. And we are going to do the stack called merge stack. Yeah. Stack. So R stands for React, M stands for MongoDB, N stands for Node.js, and E stands for Express. So what is this Express? Express is just a part of Node.js for now, which is just going to help us to create the backend. And then we have mean stack. Yeah. Then we have mean stack. And what is this mean stack? So like it's a saying that a mean stack guy and a mean stack guy can never be a friend. So then we have a mean stack. And then what is this mean stack? And let me just choose a different color. MEAN. So MongoDB, Express, Angular. So instead of React, we have Angular here. So what is the difference between Angular and React, and why we are going with React for this course? By the way, we offer both the courses, but still why React is better? Because React is so popular. Most of the things that you see are built on React. So how basically we choose which is most popular, why people are using these things? So the fact is, every now and then some new technology is going to come. Today React, tomorrow, like previously we used to have something called jQuery. We have to call Ajax. Now those things are dead. Yeah. Every now and then new technologies come. And some of the technologies stick, and React is one of them. The stick is but React is very easy, it's scalable, it have a huge community support. Most of the people are using React. So if I just stuck on my code on with if I am using React, I have a huge community which can help me to figure out how exactly we are going to solve this reason. But on the case of Angular, yeah, Angular community is also huge, but it's not so great. So if you're not like, if you are doubting my stuff, because I am a React developer, you can just do React versus Angular. Yeah, go popularity. Yeah, just type this, and you will be like, you can see any chart. React is just like destroying Angular everywhere. So it's not that Angular is bad. Angular is good, but if I want a job, I will just go with the React, because at the end of the day, what we want money, and job is going to give us the money. That's why. So let me just open, let's just open any image, because I am damn sure like every chart is going to, let me just open the first chart. So here you can see, let me open this chart in a new tab, open image in a new tab. So if I do this, so here we have like React, yeah. And I think this is Vue, and this one is for the Angular. Yeah, you can just watch any YouTube video. You will be not surprised by my words. Yeah. So that's all about React.
राहुल इस वाले फोन पे क्यों फोन करने लग गया?
Okay, so I think somebody's mic is on. So now I'm just going to answer your question. So as I can see, we have a lot of questions here. So let me just answer one of every, like one by one. Okay, so may I ask you once, Master? The JS can easily understand using React. Yeah, basically React is going to use JavaScript. Yeah, so React is basically gonna use JavaScript behind the scene. So React is basically using JavaScript, HTML, and CSS. So if you know about little bit of that, it's going to be very helpful. But in our course, basically we start from very scratch. So we are just going to start from HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, and React, then backend development. Yeah. Otherwise, you must know about JavaScript to learn React. The JavaScript is very, very important. Now, okay, let me just cover the second. Exact meaning of full stack development. So I have covered this part. Shurya is your name, I think. Yeah, Shurya. So like, let me just open this. Yeah. So a full stack developer is a person who can develop the front end and also the back end. Is going to be a full stack developer. Yeah, a Superman basically. Okay. What about PHP? I think Mohammed is asking about what is PHP. So in back in the days, in the Stone Age, in the Copper Age, basically we used to have PHP, and it's still one of the most popular technologies that we use to make the websites and all. But nowadays, PHP popularity of PHP is declining. As I told you, uh, technologies come and go. PHP is one of the technologies that is going to fade away with the time, but it's still around because of WordPress. So we have something called WordPress that is going to help us to make some blogging website very easily. But for that, we used to have PHP for that. Like after the introduction of React and all, PHP is almost dead. So you don't have to, if you just want to land a job right now, don't ever try to learn PHP, because if you're starting right now, when at the time when you're going to be ready for the job, and if you want to have a like high pay scale, so just go with the React, yeah, because right now people are switching from PHP to the React and all. Okay. Is there any? Okay, so the free front end development course, yeah. So Leon is asking about that. I think I'm not gonna able to answer that question here. Okay, okay. How to overcome this server down problem? So Rishlat is asking about that. So why? First of all, we have to understand why this problem actually happens. So because of the lazy work of the backend engineers. So basically, backend development requires a lot of skill. Basically, how to manage the load, how to create an application. And don't worry, we cover everything in our course. And it's a lot of fun. Maybe it sounds so difficult. And let me just tell you one thing, all the developers, all the software engineers are very, very bad with naming the things. Yeah, they name things so badly that if you just let me just throw you some cool terms: context, yeah, components. So these like routes and all these terms sound so difficult, but at the end of the day, they are very easy. So with my experience, like with all the experience that I have till now, I've understood everything is easy. All you need a great teacher, or like a passion to learn everything. So why actually server get down? Basically because of poor coding, poor load management, because of database or something like that. There can be many reasons why a server can down. But at the end of the day, it comes to two problems: lack of resources. Yeah, let's suppose your database have only 1 GB of RAM. So at the end of the day, backend is just a computer. So if this computer is slow, it may crash or something like that. Like your mobile phone, if it's old enough, it's just going to lag a lot. And second thing is poor coding. Yeah. So second most prominent reason is poor coding. So we are going to figure out how to not to do these things. Yeah. Okay. Mm-mm. Okay. What is the best relational database? Postgres is one of the best SQL database. Yeah, relational database. According to me, Postgres is one of the most popular and the best database that you can use. Postgres, yeah. But if you can just go with the NoSQL and all, just have MongoDB. MongoDB is so powerful right now. Yeah, PHP is either front end or back end. Yeah, PHP is basically is like in between. So we used to create little bit of backend and also little bit of front end with the PHP. So like I like my first project that I covered in my college days, I created a social networking site by using PHP, and it was huge pain. I'm not kidding you, it was huge pain. So I do remember like how to use PHP and all of. And after that, I switched to React, and after that, I created that exact software, like that application again, and it was easy, that was fast and more feature rich. Is PHP wanted market more? No, Node.js is going to kill PHP in the demand. Yeah. If you want a high paying job, yeah, and if you want to secure your future, I'm not saying that PHP is best, but PHP is not going to secure your future because it's a dying technology right now. Node.js is a growing technology. So it's going to stay with us for like 20, 30 years. And PHP is going to stay with us for next 5 years or so. So if you want to have a retirement plan, just go with Node.js. Yeah. I hope you understand. Answer. What is Vue.js and vanilla JavaScript? Yeah, like someone is asking about what is Vue.js. So as I told you, we have React. Similarly, we have Angular. Then we have Vue. And we have like thousands of frameworks that can do exact same thing that React can do. And React comes on the top with 88% of market share. I'm not accurate, but it's more than 80%. If you, let me just Google this thing, but React have 80% of the market share among all these frameworks. So Vue is again just like a framework or a library that is going to help us to create UI and UX. But the fact is, React is so far most popular and job secure. So it's like government job of a web developer. Yeah. If you know about React.js, let's take it as a landing a government job here. And like Vue.js is also great. So Vue.js was created by the team. So as like React was created by the team of Facebook, Angular was created by the team of Google. Yeah. And Vue was created by the people who left the Angular and they created Vue.js because they were not satisfied with the Angular. So they just left the team and they created a new framework called Vue.js. And what is vanilla JS? So if you just create a website just by using HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, so this thing is called vanilla JavaScript. Yeah, because you are not using any framework, any framework, any technology, yeah, any library or that so. So that's called basically using vanilla JavaScript. Yeah, vanilla stands for no flavor. Yeah, I know vanilla is a flavor, but if you're just using everything like on the very basic level, it's called vanilla. So that's why we call vanilla JavaScript. Yeah, vanilla. We have vanilla for everything. It's not related to JavaScript. Vanilla is just used for the very basic things. Yeah, that's great. Bootstrap used for. So Bootstrap is basically a bunch of elements. So like Bootstrap is just collection of buttons and headings, colors and all. So that we can basically it used to create the front end as fast as possible. So you don't have to design the button. You don't have to create a drop down menu. You don't have to create the menu bar. You just have to do a copy paste. Yeah. So it just used to create these front end things very easily. Yeah. Okay. We have a bunch of. What about Laravel? So like for the JavaScript, we have React. For the PHP, we have Laravel. Yeah. So here, Laravel, yeah, PHP is still around here just because of Laravel, and we also have something called Code Ignite or something like that. Yeah. Okay, Vue is a JavaScript framework. Yeah, somebody answered your questions already. Yeah, PHP is kind of dead, I know, but most of the people just get offended. And with my personal experience, let me just tell you one thing. There's no such thing, a bad technology, a bad language, a bad framework. There's no such thing Angular is better than React or React is better than Angular, because at the end of the day these are just tools. Yeah, suppose you are just you are a carpenter or you are like a scientist or all, so these are just tools, and at the end of the day you are the engineer, so you are going to make the things. It doesn't it doesn't matter if you're using a hammer or a small hammer. So basically at the end of the day these are just tools, and all of the tools are very specifically useful for some specific task. And if you just learn one of these, if you know how to use the hammer, you already know how to use the small hammer and the big hammer. So just start your journey. Yeah, don't think about this is best, then don't get into these things. Just start your journey, and start your journey with the technology that is popular and that is job secure, because at the end of the day we want a job. That's why just choose a technology which is job secure, which is which can land you if you can land you a job and you can earn some money. Yeah, don't get into these things. Maybe Angular is better than React in some cases, but the job requirement is better for the React.js. That's why we are going to. Yeah, maybe after some times you can also learn Angular. You can also get into machine learning. You can also get into into software development. You can also learn C++ and all. But just start your journey, and it's very easy to start with this path. Yeah, because it's fastest way to get into this industry. This is the fastest way. Yeah, we can also start with like AI, data scientists. Yeah, but the problem with that is that path is little bit longer. You have to wait for a while. You have to do, and it's not intuitive. If you are just a beginner, it's going to be a lot of headache to start on that path, because in that path you don't basically have visual representation. You don't create a product that you can share with your parents and friends. Okay. Okay. Is JSON data is a good to practice? Yeah, JSON is good. Different. Vijay is asking about what is JavaScript and TypeScript. So basically, if you just, I would have covered the history of JavaScript, but I don't feel like we have enough time for that. So JavaScript have one problem. It's not a problem basically. JavaScript is not TypeScript. Type strict. So the fact is, there are two types of languages. We have uh, data strict language. So basically, suppose we create a variable. Suppose we create variable num. So in JavaScript, this variable can store number, a name, anything. Yeah. So that's why in JavaScript it's not type strict. That's why. But in the case of TypeScript, if you create a, like suppose in the C++, we create int num. Now this num can only store the numbers. So that is the basic difference between TypeScript and JavaScript. And you can write your JavaScript code in the TypeScript. Yeah, these are interchangeable. So you can write your JavaScript code in the TypeScript. TypeScript was created by Microsoft. Yeah. But just start with journey with JavaScript. Yeah, you don't have to like specifically learn TypeScript. You can do everything with a JavaScript. JavaScript is the mother language, and after that you can explore the things after that. Yeah. Okay, no, PHP is not wanted. Node.js is okay. So, oh my God, we have like so many questions. Okay, so let me just pick some of the questions. Okay. Uh, 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 okay, let me just start picking some questions here because we have a lot of questions. And okay, what is pure JavaScript is the vanilla JavaScript? Yeah, pure JavaScript if you don't use any framework and all. Mm, okay. Full stack Angular, Spring Boot. What do you think? I will go with the full stack, yeah, Angular or React.js because the Spring Boot basically use Java, and Java is far more difficult to use. And if you want to become a full stack, so then you have to learn about JavaScript. And if you already know JavaScript, why to learn Java? Yeah, why to learn another programming language? And by the way, Java and JavaScript are completely different languages. Yeah. So there was a, like as I told you, there was a history behind that. Why basically these two languages have a same name. Yeah. No. Leon is basically saying that React.js is better for a small project and Angular. No, it's not the case. It's not the case, my friend. React.js have like more frameworks over it. Suppose, like you can just answer this question very easily. If 80% of the industry is using React.js, then how could Angular be better for the large scale project? We have frameworks like React, Next.js, Remix.js, and a lot of things. Why which so basically we have Next.js. Yeah. So it's a framework which uses. So if you know about React, you can just go with it's a React framework for the production. You can just create a huge applications with it. So it's not like that something is better than that. You, the fact is how efficiently and how good you are with that tool. That what matter at the end of the day. You can create like complete Facebook just by using vanilla JavaScript. Yeah, it just doesn't make a sense, but you can do that as well. Okay. Okay, so the roadmap for a beginner for the full stack. First of all, I'm just going to share you the roadmap. Yeah, very concise roadmap. First, start with HTML. Yeah. Then just go with CSS. After that, learn about JavaScript. Then after that, you have to learn about the ES5 and ES6, ES7 JavaScript. And after that, learn about inside the JavaScript, learn about the promises, async await. So these are some of the things. Yeah. So just complete a JavaScript on a very deep knowledge with promises, event loops, and all. And after that, you can choose a framework like React. Yeah. Inside the React, basically you are going to learn about basic of React like routing, yeah, data manipulation, hooks, components, and a lot of things. So basically we are going to have 20 to 30 things here, right only. And after that, you can start learn about Node.js. In Node.js, you will learn about Express, then Socket.io, and in both the things you can learn about WebRTC for the real-time video chat and all. For the database, you can go with MongoDB or Postgres as of your liking. Then you can learn about, let me just, yeah, Express Socket.io, like for the WebSocket connection, like routing, authentication, little bit of cryptography and encryption and all, database management, and at the end of the day, it's a very concise roadmap. But these are the things that you have to learn. Yeah. So it's not possible to like I have to create a chart for that, and I haven't prepared that yet. So basically, that's the thing that you have to learn. But it may sound so difficult. So let me just wrap up everything. It may sound so difficult. You have to learn a lot of things. No, these all things are very easy. I can do it. You can do it. Yeah, that's not a thing that it's so much to do work. In 6 months of this time span, if you just give your like 1 to 2 hours daily, you can very easily understand about these things. And it is a lot of, don't take it as a study, as a coaching, or as a college or a school. It's not like that. It's creating the stuff, it's creating the project, it's like creating a real world project. You can start your own project, you can, maybe you can start your own startup and all. So that's all the thing that matter. It's not about, because when you are a developer, you are not a student, you are a creator. Basically, you are going to write a code which is going to actually do something. Yeah, it's like that. It's not like that you are going to learn about the math formula. Yeah, like I'm really very bad with the maths and all. You don't have to memorize the physics and all. You don't have to know the grammar of English if you are into literature and all. At the end of the day, you know a coding language that we are going to teach you. It's not actually teaching. It's not like working together to make stuff. It's a lot of fun. Yeah, you can never get bored with coding if you're just going to take it as a syllabus or as a thing that you do in a college or assignment. It's going to like, it's not going to help you a lot. Just take it as a like creator stuff. So with my personal experience, I have been doing coding for like past 7 to 8 years, and only thing I have learned till now, that you can do anything in the computers, because at the end of the day, like the people who are making these things, the React, Node, JavaScript, web browsers, these technologies also want everything to be very easy. So these things are very easy. Maybe like after 5 to 10 years, you can also develop your framework, and you will try to make this that thing as easy as possible. That's, everything is easy. It's, everything is not difficult. All you need a dedication and a good trainer like me. I'm not bragging about myself, but it is what it is. Okay, so that's I think that's it for guys. Like if you have any questions, you can just drop your questions right now. Yeah, because we have a little bit time left, so I can cover your question as well. Like if you have any question that, and if you have any doubt, and if you want any suggestion on, just drop me in the chat. I'm up for you here. Like we have 10 more minutes here for you. And by the way, dude, like if you understood and you enjoyed the session, it's basically it's all about how to start your journey. So all about that. I'm just want to clear your basic doubts and all, so that you can start your, take your first step. It could be baby step, but you can take your first step. That's right. Okay. So any doubts, any questions from your side, and do I have covered all of the things? Okay. Okay. How can we show relation from a question data? How can we show relational to a question data with Moose? I cannot decode your question. Can you just rewrite your question, Leonel? Okay, yeah, yeah. Thank you for that. Thank you for joining once again. Yeah. What is API and okay? So what is this API? So Rahul basically asked, very good question. What is this API and all? So what API is? So API stands for Application Programming Interface. So remember I told you that our server, okay, can communicate with the world. So world is going to have a front end. Yeah, world is going to have a front end, and it is going to communicate with our computer, our server. So it actually happens with a API. So API, and basically it does not depend on the programming language. So API is a concept by which two different technologies can talk with each other. Suppose you have created a software using Java, and if you created a robot, something like that, that can understand only Python. So basically, these two technologies can interact with each other by using APIs. So we also cover these API parts in the backend development. Okay. How to create a framework like Bootstrap? Oh, it's going to take a long time. Yeah, my friend, don't do it right now. Which one is better, mean or mun? It completely depends. But if you want to land a job like quickly, so go with the Mern stack because it's easier and it's a little bit more job friendly. Abhishek asked like how to create a framework like Bootstrap. You first have to learn about the framework, everything about that. In a 6 month, like 2 to 3 months, you can create a framework like Bootstrap very easily. Source to front end path, free source. Yeah, free source. I'm not like I'm eligible to talk about that right here. Yeah. How can how can handle the data with MongoDB so I can show the data from the table related to another table. Okay. So in the case of that, in like Leon, I think I'm pronouncing my name correctly. Leon is asking in the like if you are from SQL type of database in SQL, we used to have something called foreign key. Yeah, we used to have something called foreign key. Yeah, so we can just connect to data of different table. In the MongoDB, we have something called references. So we have references for that. So we that you have to reference a data to like another data. Yeah, backend developer is a required skill. Yeah, if you want a good paying job, yeah, backend development is a required skill. Okay, okay. Can you explain how Web3? Okay, so after you have completed this, the basic full stack development, you can switch over to the Web3. So Web3 is comparatively very new, like cryptography and all. No, sorry, not cryptography. So it just like let me just explain you this very easily. Right now, we have a single database and a single server, and all the users are connected to it. Okay, in a very nutshell. But in the case of Web3, we don't have this single source of truth. So every device which is connected basically have their own data. So this is the very basic difference between Web3 and Web2. So after, if you want to start with the Web3, first you have to complete Web 2.0. Yeah, and Web3 is comparatively new. So don't just get into these trends and all. First, just cover this part, and it's very easy to switch from Web3, Web 2 to Web3. It's not that so difficult. Okay. How long? 6 months. Yeah, 6 months of time is more than enough to complete a full stack path. Can we monitor website remotely using API? Yeah, basically we do that all of the time. HP is asking a question, so I have yes, you can do it. No, you don't have to know about database and algorithm, data structure. So DSA. So most of the students just ask me this question a lot that they have to know about DSA to like have this one stack on. No, DSA is a completely different concept, and if you know about DSA, it's like a plus point. But if you don't know anything about DSA, it's very good, no issues at all. But if you want to like crack an interview of Amazon, Google, Facebook, something like that, then you should also know a little bit about DSA. Yeah. So it's just like a UPSC exam questions. Yeah. So it's just not it's very helpful if you know it. Otherwise, it's not that deal breaker. And by the way, we also cover the DSA course, so you can just get enrolled in that as well. Go with Figma. Yeah. So Leon is asking, just go with the Figma for now, and after that you can switch to Adobe XD. Yeah. No, you don't have to know about anything about Photoshop and all. Yeah. Photoshop is a complete graphic designing thing. Okay. That's it for now. Okay. And okay, so that's it, guys. And thank you for joining. And I'm really glad you people joined. And I hope you get a little bit of information and knowledge with this session. And I will be pleased if I helped you even a little bit. And thank you for joining. And it was very, and you have been a really great audience. Okay. So bye bye and have a nice day.
Thank you, Sanjay. Thank you so much. And it was a really good session. And for those of you who joined late, actually missed the session, but you can fill the feedback form and get a recording of the complete session on your mail. Okay. And as Sanjay told us that you will have a lot of opportunity in the market. If with a complete full stack developer course, you can go with machine learning, right? And become a data scientist. You can become a front end developer, back end developer, complete full stack developer. So the opportunities are ample. You just have to work for it, right? So I hope everyone, we try to answer everyone's question. And those who are interested, please fill out the interest form. And I request everyone to please fill out the feedback form. It's very compulsory because that is required for, to be eligible for the certificate and the recording. Okay. And I would like to again thank you all for joining today's session, and have a great day ahead. Thank you so much. We are going to keep the call active for another 2 minutes for those who want to fill out the form. And after that, we'll, okay. Thank you. Also, I'm leaving my number in the chat box for those who want to, those of you who want to connect directly with me. You can directly call me or ping me on WhatsApp. Okay. All right. Thank you everyone for joining. You have been a great audience, and have a very great day. Thank you.